Hi everyone, so today in math we're going to be talking about mixed measures. So you might be wondering, what are mixed measures? So sometimes a problem might have more than one kind of unit of measure. For example, you might see a number of quarts and cups that you need to combine together. In order to do that, you need to first convert one into the other's unit of measure, and then you can add them together. So let's try some of these kinds of problems together. So in this first problem, we're given 2 yards and 4 feet. And it's asking us how much is this equal to in feet. So if we have a total of something that is 2 yards and 4 feet long, what would be that total amount in just feet? So in order to figure that out, we have to first convert the number of yards into feet, and then we can combine them and add them together. So it's important to remember here, thinking of our conversion charts, that 1 yard is equal to 3 feet. And I gave you guys a little visual here to remind you, 1 yard is equal to 3 feet. So how many feet then are in 2 yards? So we just do that basic multiplication fact, 2 yards times how many feet are in 1 yard, which is 3 feet, and that's going to give us the number of feet that the 2 yards is equal to. So that's your first step. So do 2 yards times 3 feet, and that's a basic fact you should be able to do off the top of your head. Once you have that number, which you should have got 6 feet, 2 times 3 equals 6, so 2 yards is equal to 6 feet. Now that last step, though, is we have to remember to then add on the rest of it, which was the 4 feet, because it's not just we're finding what is 2 yards equal to in feet, we're finding 2 yards and 4 feet. So we have to add those two amounts together. So 6 feet, which was our 2 yards, plus 4 feet is equal to 6 plus 4 is 10 feet. So we just figured out that 2 yards, 4 feet is equal to 10 feet. So the reason why this is mixed measures is because we have yards and feet. When you have two different units, two different labels, you have to convert one of them to be able to combine them. Let's try another one. So this one is weeks and days. So we have 5 weeks, 3 days is equal to how many days? So you have to first remember that 1 week is equal to 7 days. And again, I gave you a visual here to show 7 days in 1 week. We first need to figure out, well, how many days are in 5 weeks? Because we want to convert those weeks to days. So we have to multiply the number of weeks, which is 5, times the number of days that are in 1 week, and that's going to give us how many days are in 5 weeks. So go ahead and do 5 times 7 in your head. Basic fact you should be able to do off the top of your head. 5 times 7 equals, hopefully you got 35 days. So we just did the first step. Remember, these are kind of two-step problems because we have to then add in the other unit that was up here. So we had 5 weeks and 3 days. Right now we found 5 weeks equals 35 days, but then we have to add those additional days on to get a total number of days that 5 weeks and 3 days is equal to. So what's 35 days plus 3 days? 35 plus 3. So you should be doing 5 plus 3 and then keep the tens because we're not going to need to regroup. So 35 plus 3 equals 38 days. So that means that 5 weeks and 3 days is equal to 38 days. Pretty easy with just multiplying the basic fact. You have to know the conversions and then just adding on that additional unit of time or whatever the unit is. All right, so this is where it gets a little bit trickier. What if we want to add these mixed measures? But sometimes it might go over into the next unit, where we would call it regrouping if we were doing, regular addition or subtracting. We call it regrouping when it kind of goes over. So in this case, let's say I want to watch 2 movies, but I want to know how long they would be combined. The first movie is 1 hour and 54 minutes long, and the second movie is 2 hours and 10 minutes long. So in order to find the combined time of both movies, I have to add them. So I start actually in my my bigger unit of time, because you guys know an hour is the bigger unit than minutes. So I add 1 plus 2 equals 3 hours. And then I'm going to go ahead and add my minutes. 54 minutes plus 10 minutes equals 64 minutes. But what you should notice here is that the 64, it actually goes beyond 1 hour, because you should remember that 1 hour is equal to 60 minutes, right? So this goes beyond 60 minutes, it's 64. So what I can do is I can actually convert this 64 minutes into hours and minutes. So like here, remember 1 hour equals 60 minutes? So 64 minutes is actually equal to 1 hour and 4 minutes, because 60 minutes is 1 hour, and then I would have 4 minutes left over after I do the 64 minus 60 minutes, that's the hour. So that means now I have to combine my 3 hours and what the 64 minutes was equal to, which is 1 hour and 4 minutes. So 3 hours plus 1 hour equals 4 hours, and then I just tack on the 4 minutes on the end. So we found out that both movies combined are 4 hours and 4 minutes long. So if you kept it like this, 3 hours and 64 minutes, it's not like necessarily wrong, but to have the most accurate and simplest form answer, you want to regroup this and change this into hours and minutes, and then add on that hour to your other set of hours you found to get a more accurate answer. All right, so this last one, it's a little tricky again because there is going to be some regrouping. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So there's a couple strategies. I'm only going to show you one, but if another way works for you, that's fine. But this is the way that I would probably approach it. So let's say that we made some lemonade for a Memorial Day party. I used 3 gallons and 2 quarts of water to make this lemonade. And the guests drank 2 gallons and 3 quarts of the lemonade. How much lemonade was left after the party? So we have a total amount of lemonade that we started the party with, 3 gallons and 2 quarts. Then the guests had a nice time. They were drinking some lemonade, and this is what they drank. So we're going to get rid of that by subtracting to see what was left over. So in order to do that, again, I'm going to start in my bigger unit. So we have gallons and quarts, and you have to also remember your conversion that 4 quarts is equal to 1 gallon. So I'm going to subtract my bigger unit. 3 minus 2 equals 1 gallon. Here's where I run into some trouble, because you guys know I can't do 2 minus 3. I can't do 2 minus 3 because 2 is smaller than 3. So typically I would regroup, right? But because this is units of liquid measure, they're not base 10, we have to then think of what a gallon is equal to in quarts. Because what I can do is I can think of this 1 gallon that I got here when I did 3 minus 2. I can think of that gallon as quarts. And then I can add on this amount to this number of quarts. And then won't I have enough then to subtract the 3? Let's try it. So if I think of this gallon that I got here after I subtracted, I'm still left with 1 gallon. I can think of a gallon as 4 quarts because that's an equal amount. 1 gallon is equal to 4 quarts. So then I'm going to take those 4 quarts, add the 2 quarts here that wasn't enough. So this is my regrouping here. 4 plus 2 equals 6 quarts. Now do I have enough quarts to subtract 3? Yes, because 6 is bigger than 3, right? So I'm going to then subtract 6 quarts minus 3 quarts, and I'm left with 3 quarts as my final answer. So there's 3 quarts of lemonade left after the party. So the tricky part of this was really just the converting the gallons to quarts, and then you have to add that amount to the part up here, and then subtract. Because you can't do 2 minus 3, and it won't work if you try to do, oh, I can do 3 minus 2. No, you can't. Remember, with subtraction, you have to subtract the bottom number from the top number. You can't reverse it. So that's it for today. Converting units in order to add them together and being able to subtract mixed measures. Try it out. And if you guys have any trouble with this, definitely let me know. Complete the exit slip, please, and the work on Think Central. There are some extra optional assignments on Math Games and Freckle if you'd like to try those out for extra practice. So that's it. Have fun, and I will talk to you guys later.